But whoever has a stronger level 1s is quite favored in this part.
Yeah, I really like the change, to be honest, that the runes now spawn there.
Back
because
to the
before,
old style. Huh?
Yeah, because before when it was like, when people started invading again, when they made it nighttime, it felt like it was random. Like, oh, we'll just guess, we'll go this way. If they're here, we'll kill them. If there's 5 here, we'll have a 5v5 fight. If there's no one here, we just sit awkwardly and swap runes. I like this one. It's a lot more fun to engaging.
In CIS, though, it was always somehow they found the 5v5. I never saw them avoid each other. It was incredible.
Yeah, I think there was a gentleman's agreement.
With the Tusk, they would just invade into the enemy triangle.
Usually it was like dire triangle. I felt like was always like the mean spot or radiant here. It was always bottom. You're totally right though.
Yeah, because the dire triangle was much easier to invade previously, especially at level 1s, because you couldn't set up the wards yet. If you set up the wards in the off and public fleet, right, so you had the advantage there. Nowadays, it's been really changed up. I would say the hardest to invade actually is now the Radiant Jungle, because it's really, it's easy to invade because it's hard to hold that position. Unless you spend like 2 or 3 wards on that, which usually...
Yeah, I'm just incredibly happy we got my much anticipated map change. I think it's awesome watching pros kind of deal with it. I think in the early couple of weeks here at the DPC, when everyone's still playing Pogs 10 hours a day, figuring out what the OP ward spots are, we'll see a lot of people fervently defending wards, and then eventually it'll be a little bit back to normal. But I think this patch of the meta is super, or this part of the meta, sorry, is just really, really fun to watch, especially if you play a bunch of support.
Yeah, exactly.
Velheor? He's gonna have to TP away.
He's gonna die in the top lane though. DSA just got caught out with a little bit of that soul assumption. Usually not that strong against Tiny, but since Bane and Visage both have decent attack damage early, you take advantage of the 0 armor on the poor Tiny and just wreck him. Usually Tiny's good against magical damage burst for that reason, but not against heroes that also have good stats to go with it. Particularly Bane, which I think was one of the better 5s in this patch actually, because he can fight really early. He works really nicely to get kills for the carry, which tends to be the case. And the small buff that he got, particularly to the Aghanim Shard, is...
We will not forget this.
That new shard is much more... Because now it gives you the one thing Bane was lacking, which was to push. And as a 5, it really sucked that you're like, guys, lane is pushing in, you have to call someone else to help you out. Now you can just buy shard and push it yourself. And it's not like Bane needs many items, so it's fine. It's not a huge waste of gold.
Helps him scale as well, right? Because it can allow him to farm. Obviously, as a support, it's for deep pushing only. It's not for taking waves, but we all know it's for farming too. It's for farming.
Exactly. I mean, it's fine. Deep pushing is fun. That's the same thing.
But you're totally right. That's what the hero needs. He's single target king. Now he's got a little bit of. It's like soft lich, not ulti. It's lich frost blast. You know, it's decent. Nothing to write home about, but eine at least can be happy that he scales a little bit better outside of, the 10 to 20 minute range. He's fine. He's fine. Tiny only still level 2.
Bane has great stats, by the way. Tiny struggles against them. Bane has nice armor, so usually you can't mow him down with the auto attacks, because Tiny also struggles to hit anyone. And with the magical damage, because Bane also has a relatively good strength gain, particularly for an int 5 support, it's kind of difficult to burst him as well. So it's a really nice hero to pick up against heroes like Tiny. Heroes like actually Visage, Bane does pretty well against him for that similar reason. And the pure damage is good.
Yeah, plus I actually kind of like this lane combination. 2 ranged, great stats like you're saying, deceptively tanky, and Brain Sap just synergizes so nicely with Soul Assumption, because it's just free charges. Free charges here. He's going to race to the rune. Dendi is going to get an assist out from the Avalanche. He's going to decide to deny it. He's going to get a Bane tossed onto him, but he's actually going to lose out on the water rune at this rate. So eine still trying to beat him to the rune. Dendi going to deny a second one. In the meantime, I will list the kill down bottom as Pasha will get aggressive versus Nofear. Velheor, though, already having committed the Icarus dive, trying to juke Watson. That just brings him up to the high ground, and it'll be a 1-for-1 trade.
That was hilarious. eine wanted one thing, and it was just the runes. Like, he was going for runes, he was not fighting there, that was it. And actually, he goes up top. Tiny's not here, so helping the Underlord out. Can they body block him effectively? The creeps are helping out in the body block, and they're going to get him with a Soul Assumption. There's, like you said, right, the free charges for the Soul Assumption with a Brain Sap. Super easy, and that guarantees the kill Underlord, who for an offlaner has just an okay strength gain and tends to struggle against this high magic damage lineup until you get the Hooded Defiance.
And that unironically happens because eine rotates around. Tiny has to run back home, TP in with the Fountain buff to refill Dendi's bottle. It's that important. I know they added these water runes to try and make it not as important, but it had also the unintended side effect where if you have an empty bottle versus a 2-charge bottle guy, it's really tough to play that lane as well. So it's a really important move Tiny's gonna go bottom now, where Pasha is currently getting spun down. The Light and Avalanche on top, stuck inside of the kinetic field, which velheor will Icarus dive on through. With the Fire Spirit's attack speed slow, Pasha will summon another boar. Watson decides he'd rather have some wild pig here, and he's gonna go and give the kill to Pasha to Nofear instead, and he'll just right-click the boars to death.
Oh, it was a really nice kill by the Beastmaster. Well played there. It was a bit odd that he just stayed in the connect field for so long. Did try to check out
Mid lane. Yeah, Dendi could be in trouble. Tried to go just for a little cheeky life drain, but the Avalanche is actually going to save his life. We do not have another Astral Step, as that's why Dendi went in the first place. He saw the Astral Step used aggressively and decided to go right back in for it.
TSA realized, he's like, alright guys, I messed up top, I let my Underlord die because of that whole little play, but then he manages to mitigate that by getting a kill bottom, and then rotating mid, saving your mid laner. That's really solid, honestly, so well played by TSA. Good way of turning say a bad play or a bad rotation, bad situation into a good one, as he now can sap experience mid, something quite important for a tiny boar as well.
My major concern, though, is Daxak is kind of, sorry, Daxak is basically having a free lane up here, and Daxak is level 6 as well. Out come the birds. We'll see what they can make of it here. They're just going to send him in immediately. Here's Bane from behind. I think he is dead. And this is what I was afraid of. He was going to have a super early level 6. BM voice lines mid lane, though. They counter gank onto Lorenof. He's got an Astral Step and Dissemblate, 2 stick charges. He'll be fine.
I can't tell he's only silver tier Visage because this last patch was so bad, or because he hasn't bought yeah, up to levels. Because the Hawk used to be quite a well-known for this guy. It was funny because NIP, like, they dropped the Ace and they brought the Hawk. It's like, well, same playstyle, same weird heroes, same micro stuff.
Ember, Visage,
yeah,
you know,
true.
in the safe lane. We're taking mid laners into the safe lane.
Yeah. They both
we
play
have another
Warden as well, I'm pretty sure. So
yeah,
like,
yeah. Ace is a really great Arc Warden player. Nice micro by Pasha, sniping the healing ward. Free 75 gold for him. That'll get him closer now to the helm. It's a bit more expensive on the recipe, but 500 gold there. So he's very quickly making really good progress. The Hawk, he is going to be going for an Orchid by the looks of it.
Okay. Interesting. I mean, I guess the Orchid now is quite cheap, so it doesn't work badly for a Visage, right? I can see that. Particularly good against Juggernaut, who nowadays we've seen most Juggernauts still go for the level 3 build, so Manta style won't come anytime soon.
Have to run. Can't stun
He's
him.
learned his lesson, though. Wait,
oh my goodness, they almost got him. I actually think it was maybe a bit of a mistake to land the birds there. Maybe if he just kept auto-attacking, he might have had it. I'm not sure. I mean, he's an expert. What is the damage at level 1? It's the 60 damage compared to the auto-attacks. It would have been close. It would have been close, but I'll just assume he knows best, and that's the way to maximize the damage. velheor, though, he's got Icarus dive, no chance to use it. 10 stick charges couldn't get him off either. He's going to be just collapsed on there by TSA, who's making a lot of decent moves on the Tiny. That's only his second kill he's been involved in, but feels like he's making a bit more space. But the top lane is really where he's not been able to do much.
Yep. They haven't been able to push either because of the tier 1 offlane nowadays gets pushed a bit earlier, but Underlord has just been putting his body in the lane. He knows, right? He has to prevent the Visage from getting an early push, and at least, even if you die a bunch, you're not gonna let the Visage have the map control. And then hopefully you can mitigate this by using a Pugna mid and try to do the same thing in the mid lane tower. And Pugna has a much safer push, so it usually is easier to take this tier 1 tower without committing too much.
Yeah. I will say the only thing I'm concerned about right now for Prosti Esli is our supports, who both have fantastic level 6s, among the more better ones in the game, are kind of struggling for experience at this stage, both clocking at level 4, but a kill up top lane would certainly help eine quite a bit. We'll see if he can try and go for it here. As Daxak's gonna go ahead and fly the familiars through the Pit of Malice, another Firestorm, he'll continue chasing. 2 points only in the attribute aura. He's got Vanguard, that's why he's taking almost no damage.
Yeah, it's a good pickup against the Visage, but Soul Assumption still deals damage to that Vanguard. And he's like, well, he wants Hood, he wants Vanguard, and still in the end they chase him down. That sucks. Nofear dying in the bottom lane as well to Pasha, who already got his on the Dominator, and will be able to get a kill with that Centaur. Still no boots build for the Beastmaster though. Creeps before boots is the name of the game for a Beastmaster.
Yeah, absolutely. For him, it's not Dota 2, it's become the Master of the Beast. He's already got 3.
It's
maybe you can count the...
That's what he's playing.
Yeah, you can count the Phoenix in as well. I think if Pasha says go dive, he'll probably listen. Are they going to command that
Who
now?
needs a shard when you have a Phoenix to dive?
He looks like one of the shards, doesn't he? Or one of the axes. Careful though, TSA yet again just hiding in this position. Out he comes with the haste rune active now onto Velheor, but he knows that he can't really kill him because of the Icarus dive. Pasha wisely just gathering around the boys there to make the toss, if not impossible, much more difficult, and that was for the best because Nofear had TP'd in right after consuming the total knowledge. Level 6 in hand, ready to go.
Alright, so they're putting pressure upon him yet again, because they have a Beastmaster, so you take advantage of him being relatively static as a laner. So instead of having him rotate like a lot of offlaners are doing these days, you try to just use the catapult and take his tower as soon as possible. Bane is really close to level 6 once he gets that. The kill against Juggernaut should be relatively easy. But, well, that's why Tiny and Disruptor are here, though. You want to make sure that you have a way to cancel Fiend Script. You don't want to get caught by surprise. Bane's been off the map for a while.
Lorenof is going to try top you again, says Daxak, because this is probably another kill. Yeah, indeed it is. Yep. See you later. My goodness.
Limitless.
That is only 2 points, by the way. Other denied the tower already. That was going to be for the... Oh, Dendi got the tower mid lane, apologies. And Static Storm is going to whiff down bottom, unfortunately. We still have Omni Slash. Watson, careful here.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Now, they just don't want to lose this bottom tower to the Beastmaster. They want to make sure that he's not an effective pick, and that's why I think Dendi is going to rotate here as well to punish it a bit. He has Primal Roar though, and they do have Super Null plus Fiend Script, so all your ultimates are ready to go.
Eine has managed to sneak into these trees. He's smoked in there, so they don't actually know. Well, I think they know. I think Watson's pinged him, so I think now they know. Dendi ready to connect here with the rest of his team, and TSA smoked up level 6 now as well. He did take the point and grow, so he's going to be right-clicking for a bit more damage. Lorenof just holding a defensive position. He's going to actually be going for the Aghanim Scepter first side of TSA, snagging away the Invis rune. Lorenof going to be a little upset that he can't refill the bottle, but otherwise he's alive, and that's more than you can ask for against a Tiny with an Invis rune. It's a very deadly combo.
Structures are fortified.
The Tiny though did not go down bottom, which means the tower is kind of dead to right, Troy?
Yeah,
there's
looks
the
like
Juggernaut leaving. He's like, nah, I guess you're sacrificing the tower. I'm not going down with it. But in exchange, Underlord is taking the tower pretty much on his own, as the Pugna still puts pressure in the mid lane. In fact, Tiny, they see eine. Oh, went to the high ground. Impossible. What do we do now? Into the ground fight. The call from the Tiny. Avalanche stun. Kills eine.
With Orchid already finished. And what can Dendi do here? Absolutely nothing is the answer. Down he goes. Lorenof gets the kill. Ooh, that is a pretty nicely timed Orchid there for Daxak with boots as well, so he can even actually keep up and cast his own spells to help the familiars out here. They will exchange tier 1s, but yeah, unfortunately just didn't scout the Visage there.
Yeah, well done there, honestly. Good rotation by Daxak. He understands that if you're playing this kind of carry, you need to be much more active around the map, right? Juggernaut can play a bit more defensively, go for his farm, passive Visage. You want to play around your team as much as possible.
Absolutely.
You lost your Bane there. It sucks because you haven't seen still a Fiend Script kill, and early they tend to be easier than later,
Absolutely.
where everyone has ways to cancel it, but do what you can as a Bane.
Yeah, you do what you can, and I'd be curious to see his automation as the game continues. We've seen a couple Banes, especially in lower division for Season 1 here in the Eastern European. I think Toha likes to pull it out, who is going to be back, by the way, on Trident Clan this time around, despite being removed from his old team, which now goes by Fantastic 5. That'll be a fun grudge match between the two. I'm not sure when that one's taking place off the top of my head, but make sure you guys tune in for that one. So yeah, we've got a lot of Bane players here in lower division, so I'm really curious to see, you know, what it's going to come out to. As far as the builds.
Oh, bait player. I think you said we have a lot of bait players because that's also true.
I mean, yes,
half of the lower division is some.
That is also true, but I was going to say we have a bunch of Master Bane players, and really Dendi is he's the only Master Bait player, isn't he?
I get it. Nice job. So that's a Shakespearean joke, by the way, guys. In case you ever think that's low, that's actually Shakespeare made those jokes. Romeo and Juliet. Anyway, tower in the middle lane, that's going to fall to Daxak. Yeah. Familiars allow you to push relatively well now once you have enough farm, maybe Orchid to cover them as well, and there's not much you can do. It's not as secure as the Pugna push, but it's close to it, because the Familiars can die, and since you have them off cooldown, you're okay with them dying right now.
Yeah, you'd be okay with it. It kind of sucks because you're about to hit level 12 and have level 2 familiars. We'll probably see Daxak. You do two things on the Visage. Either you sacrifice these guys, you run them in, basically use them for the summon 2 more, which actually do damage, and then use those to kill, or you just summon them immediately if you want to keep farming. We'll see what he goes for. Right now, though, they're going to be able to dodge an aggressive movement out from Bait as they set up some vision in the enemy jungle, farm a little bit, and otherwise just have a nice vacation here as it turns into nighttime. Eine, though, he's not having a very fun time.
Oh, the courier might spot him. Oh, he's like, no, I saw something flying. He's staying here. He's hoping for the Fiend's Grip as he's baiting, I think, with velheor?
Yeah, he is. velheor, though, going to get disarmed. Tiny cannot close the gap. He's 800 gold away from the Blink Dagger. Nice little Sunray off the map. Very nice and balanced. You can try and throw the Avalanche, but he is far up the mountains, Tiny.
What is over the mountains? Tiny asks his carry. Nobody knows.
I only roll down them. Oh, they might have done Limitless here. Eine has got Fiend's Grip ready to go, but Lorenof with the DD rune is not going to want to go for it because the scan does actually scout Nofear, who's holding a nice high ground position. Again, we've not seen a Static Storm yet either. Oh, we have, pardon me. We've not seen a Static Storm hit a hero this game yet.
No,
I correct myself.
That is true. We saw like a zone out Static Storm earlier. That was it.
All right. Birds have been resummoned, so we're not going to try and use them aggressively for the cooldown on the stuns, and instead we're going to use them to siege with the 2 boars, the wagon, as well as Pasha.
All right, I guess the inner beast also helps your control as well.
That's real
okay,
nice.
so there's quite a lot of synergy. Daxak definitely seems like he knows how to play the Visage here, and the whole team around him. Eine in the top lane finally gets caught. I think he's been living here for forever. They helped him to gravify. No, they're gonna kill him with Nether Blast. Lorenof tries to get away. No Static Storm does not quite zone at Lorenof though. And Limitless, he's learned. He sees there's something flying. Doesn't know if it's the Visage or the Phoenix. Decides to retreat before the Visage can join the fray. Limitless, he has that muscle memory from the top lane. He does not want to fall to Daxak again.
Yeah, he knows. Otherwise, he's going to get hit with the "you again" voice line. He's had enough of those this game. It does feel a little bit bad, though, because you got some really good damage onto the tower. It's less than half HP now, but you did lose your own tier 2 bottom. Your mid lane is extremely pushed in right now, and we have level 2 birds up for our Visage. We have Ags. Not quite soon enough. 700 gold away still. Lorenof, he might be able to farm these up relatively quickly. My point I was bringing up is top lane was going to be deep pushed by Prosti Esli. Mid lane was at your tier 2. Bot lane was at your tier 3. Your map is super constricted, and you all just ultied all the way back home. Like, you just gave Prosti Esli so much freedom. Like, where are we going to go, boys? We can smoke, go basically anywhere, and try and catch someone. And now they're going to try. Let's see what they can find, because Bait's still quite constricted overall on their map movements. Lorenof does not have Ags yet. He's just 150 gold away, though. They're not going to wait for it.
Yeah, they're gonna let Juggernaut just leave for now. They don't. The smoke was hoping to catch Jug. We still haven't seen a Fiend script this whole game.
Correct.
It's starting to be a bit too late. Like usually the advantage of the Bane, at least in this patch, is that you can use the Fiend script particularly early, get early kills with a constant fighting. Instead, Bane has been able to evade him for the most part.
Yep. Smokes are breaking. Nofear holding the front lines. They've caught a Phoenix.
Okay,
The Static Storm here, but do they have the damage for the kill? Out of the Firestorm now. Nice little nightmare to dodge a bit more of the damage. Hold back in. Actually got the Supernova off. TSA doesn't want to be anywhere near here. And that's fine, because we can just walk away. Daxak bringing in the birds, though. Life drain out from Dendi. Good guy Dendi keeping the boys alive as there's the roll out of Watson. Couldn't get off the Omni side. Beat stunned up by Daxak and the birds. Even the mech. It's not enough healing that came through from Limitless. They will at least be able to snipe velheor in the meantime, but that's not really... Thank you.
They had the Fiend script. It wasn't the birds, it was just the Fiend script. I loved it because I did, like, they threw the Primal Roar and the Fiend script at the same time. It was like, Juggernaut's dying. No matter what, Juggernaut is dying today. And finally we saw a relatively impactful Fiend script. And it wasn't a bad idea. It does seem like they stacked stuns, which of course feels a bit bad. But because they wanted that security to kill the Jug and they know how important it is to stop his farm, it's completely justified. Because now Daxak, being the strongest hero in the game, honestly, it's very close to his BKB, and he's not going to be too phased by the Pugna, who is really the best hero made right now.
Well, of course, because it's Dendi.
Well, that, and because he's also the most farmed, and
Yeah.
Pugna's kind of at a peak utility right now. But
Of
yes,
course.
it's mostly because it's Dendi.
Especially because he's not level 2 as well. Or sorry, he's got level 12. So he's level 2. Life drain is what I meant to say, so it's a lot more damage for him. Watson tried to get in there with the Omni Slash. The fight looks very different if he does, so it's very good for Prosti Esli that they actually commit more than enough life down there. You know, I think Pasha's probably used a roar, but you know, no Fiend's Grip yet. He was just itching to use one and just let it fly. Speaking of fly, nice little Icarus dive away from the Pit of Malice. Going for the Solar Crest next for Limitless on this Underlord after the Mechanism. So he's a tanky boy, but doesn't really have a lot in the catch department. He's going to be relying a lot on the Tiny or for Nofear to actually pull them back into his Pit of Malice.
Oh, they take the tower here. Well, he's a tier 2 taken down. And as their Dire, I actually really like their movements because Dire does have to prioritize the mid lane a bit more. As I mentioned, defending the Radiant jungle and completely taking control of it is a bit difficult in this patch. So you see less warding around that area and more warding around the mid lane, which is much more rewarding for Dire, who wants to keep the pressure going. So they have studied the map changes pretty well. They killed the Dissenter as well on top of this, but double silence. Nothing Nofear can do. Dendi will just immediately TP. They have the Ether Remnant to do. Oh, Dendi. Because it is Dendi, he manages to TP right in time, even though the Ether Remnant would have caught him usually. But
absolutely.
That's why you picked a super meta.
That is absolutely why you do it. My goodness. That was a close one, ladies and gentlemen. Let me run that one back. Look at this. Look at this. Oh, speed it up a little bit. Look how close this one was. He was close.
Top tower has fallen.
Oh,
he was there.
Yeah,
exactly.
I agree. I thought he had it. I would call a line judge for that one. I would say, Ice Frog, excuse me, something's broken here.
Yeah, I would agree. But you know, then he gets away. Super happy about that. Losing Nofear is not that big a deal. And we did see this game. No Blink Dagger on the Pugna as opposed to the last game. We're going to see Aeon Disc, which is always useful. Oh, sorry, on Dream Core together with the Yule Scepter. Which Yule Scepter is fantastic because you need more ways of canceling the Fiend Script. Even if it only came once, everyone's already thinking about the potential damage that it will.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, it's just too risky, and now they got to be very aware of it. As with Aegis in hand here for Lorenof, he's going to be very aggressive. Does need to mind his cooldown zone, like his brother Storm Spirit. As looks like they're going to catch TSA for trying to cut the mid wave. Left 2 creeps with them. Is this the Aegis you go high ground with? It seems a little early, but there's only one tier 2 left, and Pasha's already, you know, heading in that direction. Creep wave's already pushed. What do you do with this Aegis?
I think you finish off the last tier 2, and you might even be able to go high ground. You have Solar Crest and Visage, you know. So
okay, and Beastmaster. Yeah,
exactly. Also Beastmaster. Yeah. And I really like the build for Pasha, by the way. When I first saw the patch, I actually didn't think of the Axe build at all, which was been really popular. I thought, yeah, it could be a thing. Oh wait, there's a play here by eine. He does have the Fiend Script. Nightmare first. He's looking for a bigger objective with the Fiend Script. It's Dendi. Like Yule Scepter stops the Bane. Instead, Disruptor dies. They have Fiend Script, but they can't catch up to Dendi. He knows the new juking spots.
He was out just in the nick of time there. As once again, top lane. Oh, the roar onto Watson with a stop to follow up from the Centaur Conqueror. They even catch TSA here, which is going to manage to toss up the Centaur Conqueror. They're looking for more, committing the Supernova against probably 2 of the worst auto attackers in the whole game. TSA will be stunned by the Supernova. They actually even catch Limitless here. Another Centaur stomp there to secure the kill onto the Tiny, and that's going to be a very well utilized roar for Pasha. Creep wave conveniently pushed in, and I think this is going to be a nice push here for the high ground. Pardon me, folks. We just need to get Alvaro back into the team speak here, and he'll be right back in. Unfortunately, just having a small issue with the communications here, but we appreciate you guys tuning in anyway. The Hawk has got a BKB. I just sent him a quick message.
Tower is under attack.
As he's going to be looking to show that one off. So a fresh 9-second BKB. So much muscle memory of saying the 10-second. But this tower is not going to even last 10 seconds. Down it goes here as Pasha finally gets some personal time. As there's Avo now back. At the same time, though, Lorenof will get tossed back in onto the high ground in the Pit of Malice, but just not enough catch. Hello.
I was actually going to say that, as you saw the Beastmaster being super impactful, that when I first saw the patch, actually, this is the build I was thinking of. It's like cheap items with Solar Crest, Blink Dagger, Helm, maybe a Vlad if you have enough farm, right? And just being that old utility Beastmaster with a bit of push. And I still think this Beastmaster is perfectly viable. I would even call him one of the strongest offlaners in the patch still.
Yep,
we'll see a bit of a snipe here against the Tiny. F double stun. I don't think Tiny can get away. And eine says, mine, and takes the kill with the last little brain sep.
Yeah, it's starting to look a bit difficult. It feels like they I don't even know how you manage to start these fights. Like your lineup, especially with Disruptor, who even with his buffs just feels so bad to play from behind from. Like you need to bait some overextension of Prosti Esli and then bring them back with Glimpse, and then you kill that guy and run down the rest of them. Like it just feels like I struggle to find a really another way. I mean, I guess we have Tiny Blink, so there's always potential there, but he's already shown it off, and well, he's been killed immediately with it. And now I've got a BKB for Lorenof, so as well as the 9-second BKB freshly purchased for the Hawk, who's going to be going back for the Aghanim Scepter. Beautiful Ags, silent as the grave, super strong. It's great for sniping backliners like immediately. Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. Also, I love that the name of it is Silence the Grave is absolutely fantastic. It goes back to the old Necrolite, it was called back in Dota. Just much more of a ghost kind of like hero. It used to be the Dead Wyvern as well. That was the model for it, like Ghost Wyvern. It was a model in Warcraft 3. It was wonderful, really cool. And yeah, the Visage, I think it suits him so well because it suits his timings. And since the Beastmaster went for Solo Crest, you're also able to afford an earlier BKB, go for the Ags, not having to wait for the Solo Crest, as you mentioned in the draft. Like your draft is hitting its complete prime right now.
Yeah, I actually wonder if that's the reason we'll be seeing more Visage, because Solar Crest is so cheap and it no longer gives you as many stats, so it feels like, do I really want to purchase this on a Visage now if I can just yell at my offlaner to buy one, or even my support position 4 or 5 to buy one instead. Saves him an item, it's still effectively the same. Pretty generous cast range on the Solar Crest as well, so it's not like you have to have a Blink Dagger, but it's even better when Pasha does have one. So he's going to just continue split pushing, and I imagine we're just going to wait for this Ags for Dahak, and maybe look to snipe someone on the back lines. You can sneak very easily into the base of someone and then just jump the back lines, have the rest of your team then rallying in behind you, and usually that's a good way to reveal the Ags. It only works once though, because then after that they set up sentries.
Exactly, yeah, but it does work the one time. You also have, by the way, Shard on the Beastmaster, which allows you to do the dive bombs, the Hawks. Those got buffed considerably. So before, the Shard used to allow you to move the Hawks, which is the biggest thing, so it was a nice little vision Ags. But now the dive bombs are a bit stronger, so because you have the 2 full second stun, fair amount of damage, reduce cooldown the Hawks, which means sacrificing them actually feels worth it. So I kind of like the new Shard on the Beastmaster, and as the high ground teamfight component. Yeah, that was. I think he calculated what Beastmaster was, but he miscalculated rather.
Yeah, he did. He kind of got in his own head about it, I think, right? He was like, he's going to make this movement, and I'll blink on him right here, and it'll look sick on the replay. And, well, I don't think it will, unfortunately. But, yeah, I mean, they at least stop him from pushing. Put the Fear God onto Pasha. He's going to... Well, he doesn't actually... He does TP away, but now he's back. Just to push the Juggernaut back out, but it feels like Fate are slowly but surely just kind of getting asphyxiated here. Like this, like the Stranglehold is only going to get stronger and stronger, especially with this Visage Ags now. Here's going to be the first cast, flying movement, no longer flying vision, thankfully. That was a little bit too strong, but flying movement for you and the boys. You do an additional 35% damage. Sorry, 30% damage for 4 seconds.
Once you
last 35 seconds. Yes, once you're revealed by any method, by the way. Yeah, it's really nice. So we'll see. This is the biggest opportunity for him. We do have sentries in the base though. Some decent coverage, I will say. Yeah, really good coverage actually. So Nofear knows. He's probably played a couple pubs against the Hawk and goes, absolutely not.
We'll see. Right now, it just needs to last this, right? This is the final peak that you have to survive against, and if you manage to at least hold your own against them, not too bad. You have a lot of ways of defending high ground with Pugna plus the Underlord. And this late game doesn't look too awful against you if it wasn't because Jug is completely countered by the Beastmaster and Bane, which makes this kind of 4 protect 1 idea that you seem to be going for just because you don't have enough map to farm rather. It's very difficult.
What? It's just, sorry, the Hawk is just threatening them with the voice lines, but
it's the only one he has because he's only silver tier. What is this? One of your better heroes only silver tier?
That's true. Yeah, that is true. That's a good point. Maybe he can't play it on his main account because it always gets banned against him. Who knows? Oh my goodness, it's been forever since I've seen glitched Tiny with this cosmetic. Back in the days of TI 8-9.
He really hates the Helmut Dominator creep. He's done this twice to the Helmut Dominator creep.
He also really hates Watson getting farmed because he just took the whole entire way from him again.
I mean, to some degree, let's argue it's better to divide the farm so your Jug doesn't have to carry this alone.
Okay. You know what? I'll accept that. I'll accept that one. No,
you have really good anti-carries in the enemy team, right? Bane and Beastmaster are heroes that are particularly good against the 4 protect 1 strats because they have, well, BKB piercing long stuns. And there's very little your team can do besides building save that can help you out against the, particularly the Primal Roar, because you can at least cancel Fiend Script if he doesn't have BKB. You won't be able to cancel the Primal.
That's a good point. Yeah, it's not gonna be a great time here. No one's able to farm the money for the Lincoln Sphere either. Dendi, by the way, has not decided to finish the Aeon Disc, went instead for the full BKB, so he did manage to find the 4K gold. Because he's kind of just been, you know, getting filter fed, if that makes sense. You know, one wave here, one wave there, walking around, you know, pushing it from a safe distance. And Prosti Esli, they'll keep farming as well. They're just, I don't even think they've been on their own side of the map here for well, probably something like 10 minutes since that second Roche, the first Roche actually. Oh, but they've got eine. All right, that's a kill you can take. Going for the counter initiation. The Hawk coming from the side, and he's enough to just scare them off. Will they have the damage for eine by themselves? Doesn't quite look like it, unfortunately. But well done there to respect the damage that Visage can bring.
Oh, nice. I mean, eine is kind of important, not because the Fiend Script is going to be that impactful in the team fight, but the threat that it represents is very important. They always need to save at least one stun for that, and that means that they can't go full on, especially when you're losing. This becomes much more difficult for you. So I like that they're putting a lot of effort into trying to murder this Bane. But with the Glimmer Cape and his natural stat gain, it's not the easiest 5 to kill.
Yeah, that's true. Great stats, a balanced 2.6 per level, so he's clocking in at a healthy-ish 1200 HP. Not a lot for a tiny, but you know, TSA is going to be a little bit reluctant to commit a Blink Dagger against a Void Spirit, against a Visage, against a Beastmaster, hell, even against the Bane, who can just very easily, all the same, just turn around and Fiend Script you.
There's a sign that's a great first time they get the kill with it. It's going to be on the Underlord, even committing in that Primal Roar. Using the very old Beastmaster build with the travel boots that Seb used to run all the time back when he was played actually for Beastmaster in Sigma International. I remember those good days for Seb.
Yep. SCA.
Back then it was.
Go ahead, I was about to say SCA smoke for bait.
Oh, SCA smoke, yeah, because they just lost someone and they go for the smoke immediately. Yeah.
I didn't need to
and I think they can take a tower now as well.
Yeah, I would agree. Without that, the Firestorm's a huge method of counter push here. Dendi's too afraid, and rightfully so, to even get anywhere close by. I mean, Void Spirit doesn't even care about you. He's got the Enchanted Quiver for more damage, a BKB as well to dispel and, well, just ignore you pretty much. The Hawk as well, stolen out to his 9-second charge. He's gotta get in there, but even then, again, it's not a very fun matchup versus the Visage, who, by the way, did buy the Shard.
Yeah, but it's interesting. I didn't think the Shard would actually be bought. I don't see that that strong. But the Hawk is a Visage player, so, you know, whatever he says, right?
I agree. I think it's very situationally good if it's a good game to also get Wyvern fields, you know? And
oh, right, yeah, because pretty much the same thing.
Yeah, kind of. There's not too many, right? Yeah, because it's a good heal, but like if you're using it to stay alive, you know, it's usually not going to be good enough because enemies just set up everything around you, and it's the welcoming party. So, but yeah, it's situationally really good, and it's another stun that you carry on the Visage, especially because at this stage, like you're saying, Visage himself, the hero, has to start doing a couple of things, right? He can't just rely on the birds, because even with the Gravekeeper's Cloak, they will be able to nuke them relatively quickly. That is until he gets maybe the 25 counts of the stacks. Depends on what he wants to go for.
See here, the smoke actually revealed by eine, and he does get stuck in the stack storm. Sucks a bit more in Super in the middle of this though, and actually forced the other one for people done rip. Under might just die. They do get rid of the Super in time, but also Sable the done ripped. They're not able to be brought back home, forcing the Omni Slash now, dividing the damage between them. That's a really strong Omni Slash. That Roar just towards the end though, almost dies alone to the Nether Ward, and here comes the house out. They toss over the Juggernaut, enough to kill Pasha, but the Hawk is ready to fight. He has the cheat, eats it, and now is hoping to pummel Watson instead, hoping to punish Dendi. They're dividing their efforts a bit. They gotta capture in someone, and they will do so onto Watson. Finally getting the carry kill they were looking for. Really hectic team fight, but in the end, it goes slightly the way of Prosti Esli, especially by forcing that last buyback.
Yeah, very hectic team fight there for sure. And, you know, it's honestly the Visage Shard, you may have just convinced me with that one. A nice, very effective stun versus the Juggernaut, right? I mean, that's something that the Winter Wyvern heal is going to be good at.
Oh no, that was the cheese for sure.
Oh, he used the cheese, and but even though like Jug couldn't have nuked him with the HP he came back with.
That's true.
Like,
that's true.
It was going to be impossible. Plus, of course, he became damage immune for a while there as well. Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of convinced if it's a good game for Cold Embrace, it's a great game for this Shard too. That's what I'll say about it.
It makes sense, right? I can see the point against Omni Slash particularly, and also against the Tiny combo, because you have two combos that really rely on timing. So if you don't get those combos off properly, yeah, I can see it. I'm not opposed to this. I like that he kept the cheese as well, and they give the Aegis to Lorenof. I feel like if the Hawk there dies once, he dies twice. But with the cheese, he could control that a bit better and choose the fight there towards the end.
It's still kind of like a very rough fight for Bait to take there, because they had the threat eliminated from the Fiend's grip, right? Like that wasn't going to be an issue guaranteed in that fight, and it still just doesn't end up looking that good for them. Yeah, so we'll take another look at that one here while we keep our eyes on the main screen. Because Prosti Esli, they may still decide to go right back on in. Eine fearless, leading the boys up into the enemy triangle just to get some vision back up here. But yeah, I mean, it was a good fight, and this is when that Gravekeeper's Cloak came in. It might have saved his life, because they were actually blowing through the charges there of the Cloak, and then he uses the active, and he's totally fine. And Dendi's just like, well, that sucks. I can't do anything here, and then he just has to run away. So in that case, yeah, it was really good. Pops the BKB, doesn't even have the familiars, and he just runs at enemies.
And Dendi almost saved him as well, though, so that was like kind of a...
Okay.
Dendi did join in and almost had pretty much turned the team fight around. Did a lot of damage to the Visage. The taunt that towards Juggernaut towards the end was really good. There's a feed script. There we go.
With a Blink Dagger too. Yeah.
There's a glimpse though. Is that going to be enough time? Yes, it will be. Next use the Bubble Ward just to finish him off. And also catch up to Nofear with the shard. This Dissimulate deals so much damage.
Yeah, it's kind of ridiculous. And yeah, that's the Boots of Travels build coming online, or coming in handy for the second time now for Pasha. He's just seemingly everywhere he needs to be at the right time. It's fantastic. I imagine Prosti Esli, they tell him to TP in first just in case. He's got a Blink Dagger. Eine has a Blink Dagger. It's just so hard to play Jug.
Yeah, true. In this game, you're the only win condition you have, because Pugna and Underlord really cannot fulfill that, unfortunately. If you had other off-laner, mid-laner that could kind of be the secondary carry, but these guys are just supports at this point.
All right, very aggressive Supernova yet again, forcing the BKB of Dendi. No Fiend's Grip, of course, still on cooldown from its uses on the Jug, but that's going to be the second tier 3 tower taken. The Hawk is going to go ahead and use the, what's it called again? The ulti, that you get with Silence as the Grave. Yeah, and he just absolutely nuked the structures there with the birds, so that was pretty good. He didn't use it for himself so much, just sending in the birds into the dangerous position.
Yeah. Oh,
is that a Lorenof the toss?
It's Aegis though.
Okay. Yeah.
And BKB, you should be able to get away from this. Oh, there's BKB used just in case. Or not, he's holding on to it. Dissimulate. Oh my goodness.
Wow.
Yeah, forget how strong that shard is.
All 2-3 towers down. The Hawk maybe willing to go in with the boys. They are pinging him. They know where he's at. Hit him out on a Lorenof. Now he's going to have the BKB in turn. Straight onto Limitless here. Watson just stuck in the trees as well. Finally finds at least one of the birds trying to get through them. But the Gravekeeper's Cloak, man, you're not going to be able to nuke him down. Down go now the ranged barracks, as they're not really left with anything in their hands to grasp whatsoever. No detection here for the Hawk, but there's going to be the glimpse at the very least onto the Phoenix. He'll be blown up. No Supernova, no Burst Time at the ready. They did have to commit the Static Storm, but now they're going to be a little bit more fearless in going in. TSA leading them up the hill. Blink Dagger ready in 4 seconds. But I think these guys are a bit too fast. Eine with a blink in a little bit less. Has a glimmer. 5 seconds on that one, but now they're going to try and turn onto the Tiny. The Hawk using the BKB to ignore the glimpse. Life drain out from good guy Dendi to keep TSA alive. And I think now maybe they'll chill.
Radiant's middle tower is under
you could feel Bait. It feels like they want to get anything at. Fiend's Grip down bottom. Gonna be into a little Omni Slash there. Did enough damage though. Eine. Now he's gonna be left completely alone. Down he goes. Reinforcements are coming. Have to get the job done here. It's low enough. Decent damage there. Big burst of damage up from Lorenof. Oh, finally up to level 25. Just looking to run away. Now TSA barely alive by the skin of his teeth. Kept alive, especially by the healing ward.
Are going to be able to take down the illusions there towards the end and just disengage finally. Bait really want those kills and they just can't really force it. Honestly, Lorenof is kind of unkillable. He's also playing, I would argue, his best hero. He really does know how to dominate with his hero, and the shard buff is ridiculous. I honestly don't understand why he got buffed in the shard, because the shard was already pretty good with the 25 talent, but now, actually the 25 talent also got slightly buffed because it should be 2 seconds. It's absurd. They gave him so many extra buffs here to make him just such a powerful late game machine. And now
bro, I mean, you have to understand, Ice Rock, he wants to buff heroes that we never see, and like, we never see Void Spirit in the mid lane, so it's like...
I think Ice Rock is just a fan of CCNCs. Look away his Storm, and he's like, I gotta give you something, and he gave him the Void Spirit instead, so... It's just absurd. He's so strong, even though the meta doesn't even favor him that much, it's just because how powerful he is. He's gonna find Watson. Maybe he still thinks Void Spirit's a new hero, and that's why he's doing this? I'm not sure.
Could be, yeah, could be. Okay, glimpse. Just used defensively to make sure that he's not sniped there by eine.
They had a little smoke here by Prosti Esli. Oh, yeah, it was a little smoke. Ninja gear smoke by the Hawk.
Oh, wow. And he's got Sun out as a grade as well.
It's hilarious. So he's going to put the familiars. Like, I wonder why these familiars are doing there alone. Surprise! It's ninja gear!
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it's such a great item for him as well. Like I said, at this stage, he's actually gone for the Gravekeeper's Cloak stack, so he's going to be, like, again, even more deceptively tanky. I mean, 9 stacks here is a ridiculous amount. It's 180% damage reduction, by the way, so yeah, it's pretty good.
And now here, let's see what they do. Bit of malice.
Lorenof just fine. They can't. I don't think they can kill him. He's got bottle. He's got an illusion bottle. Sorry, not just the bottle, of course, and a BKB.
You can't kill Lorenof, and you also can't kill the Hawk. This is the BKB himself. Bloodburn's also huge for the ESL. What did TSA try to do? He just got Primal Roar down the low ground. They had to kill TSA super easily like this. Nightmare actually kind of saves the Disruptor, but TSA down for the count. Watson seems to be the target as well. The talent works against the Hawk. Only using the Swift Slash. He still preserves. Oh, no, sorry. That's no Omni Slash anymore. Supernova, they can play this aggressively. And he's a little bit too late. He could have stayed there. The beats would have been used just so they can get the Supernova's done. And it won't work out. This poor Jug can't be saved. Even though Dendi tried his best. It's going to be Watson going down. The GG called as they end up murdering the remaining heroes of Fate. Prosti Esli will be taking game number 1 with a spectacular Visage carry pick.
Oh yeah, I mean it looked so good actually all game. And it was really awkward for Bait to play against this because it's like your early game hero that has momentum out of the gates are kind of both the Tiny and the Pugna, but both of these guys are kind of countered by the same style of, well, I have a second life, or I'm an extra elusive